completely and fully obliterated. He was speaking in an address to the nation from the White House. There was no independent damage assessment.
Investors said a U.S. attack on Iranian nuclear sites could push oil prices even higher and trigger a knee-jerk rush to safety. This came as observers have assessed how the latest escalation of tensions would ripple through the global economy. The details in the following report.
The reaction in Middle East stock markets to the U.S. strikes on Iran, which trade on Sunday, suggested investors were assuming a benign scenario, even as Iran intensified its missile attacks on the Israelis in response to the sudden deep U.S. involvement in the conflict. Investors said they expected the U.S. involvement would cause a sell-off in stock markets and a possible bid for the dollar and other safe haven assets when major markets reopen, but also said much uncertainty about the course of the conflict remained. One indicator of how markets will react in the coming week was the price of Ether, the second largest cryptocurrency, and the new gauge of retail investor sentiment after Bitcoin, which is now held largely by institutions. Ether was down 5% on Sunday, taking losses since the first Israeli strike on Iran on June 13 to 13%. Most Gulf stock markets, however, seemed unconcerned by the early morning attacks, with the main indexes in Qatar, Saudi Arabia and Kuwait up slightly and the Israeli Tel Aviv main index at an all-time high. A key concern for markets would center around the potential impact of the developments in the Middle East on oil prices and thus on inflation.
Well, to shed more light on the situation in the Middle East and the conflict between and the aerial war between Israel and Iran, we have the pleasure to have with us over the phone our dear guest, His Excellency Ambassador Medhat Meligy, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Good afternoon, Your Excellency.
Good afternoon to you.
Your Excellency, Egypt have condemned over the latest developments that has taken place, the escalation which it said possesses threats, dangerous repercussions in the region. How did you follow Egypt's condemnation?
Well, actually, Egypt, as we always have said, is a country that respects international law and its principles, and accordingly, this is an attack on a sovereign country. And unfortunately, this should not have happened from the United States, knowing that in the cause of the hit or the cause of the strike was clearly the nuclear facilities of Iran. Iran is a signatory of the Treaty of the Non-Proliferation Treaty, the NPT, and its facilities are subject to inspection from the agency, which makes Iran a country that it did not break the international law, and accordingly then for the thousandth time the United States reaffirms that it views the international law as nothing more than a selective tool to be used according to its interest. And actually we are again very shocked because that this very nation that is supposed to be one of the guardians of the global order, and moreover it's a permanent member of the UN Security Council, once again resorts to the logic of force and dominance and launching a military strike on a nuclear facility within the sovereign territory of Iran without any UN mandate or even a legal basis, in a blatant violation of the very principles upon which the United Nations was founded.
Yes, Your Excellency, how did you read this sudden involvement of the U.S. in the war between Israel and Iran? What would be the coming steps or the expectations that we expect, as President Donald Trump said there could be more other strikes from the United States?
Well, first of all, we have to say that this strike from the United States is coming to once again reaffirm the strategic vision that was articulated by Benjamin Netanyahu himself, the Prime Minister of Israel, in the 1990s, which called for the weakening or even dismantling of the military and political capacities, not just of Iran. Actually, it was 7 countries that were seen as a potential threat, which were, I mean, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Sudan, Libya, Somalia, and finally Iran. This agenda has largely been advanced through the political and military support of the United States, and finally with the execution of the United States itself.
Yes.
So my point is that what we will see in the future, although too early to speculate, but I think it all depends on the capacity of Iran. Already the Minister of Foreign Affairs have said that although that he believes in negotiation at a certain point, but he has the right to retaliate against the hits that have been directed towards his country. And this opened the door towards more radical groups to spread violence in the Middle East due to the injustice and unfairness of the United States and Israel.
Yes.
We have seen personally, and I have seen personally, Mr. Netanyahu talking in a very, very, very disgusted manner about how dare Iran hit a hospital while he himself did not leave one hospital
in Gaza
without being hit. And actually it shows to which degree he's in total denial of his own actions, destroying all the hospitals and all the medical facilities, and not just that, all the medics and all the people who are caretakers in these. And he's talking about sick people, and he's talking about children. Can we forget that the army of Israel and Mr. Netanyahu left children in hospitals to die out of negligence, and because that they were in facilities that needed petrol, and the petrol was not there, and accordingly those children died and rotted in hospitals under the guards of Israel. Unfortunately, these things passed, and we have to look at, hopefully, at a better future. But actually, as I said, it all depends on Iran and how long it would stand and continue to battle. Knowing one thing, that although and the United States and Israel support each other with the Western Bloc and help each other with military equipment and so on, we didn't hear about one country that vowed itself to help Iran with any armament. And this shows that Iran is left alone for the time being.
Yes, Your Excellency, Ambassador Meligy, concerning the press conference that was held in Turkey by the Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, how did you follow the press conference and his statements condemning the U.S. attacks on Iran 3 sites, nuclear sites, and describing it as outrageous, and said that his country has the right to defend its sovereignty?
Well, actually, there is no surprise in what he said. Of course, he has been a victim of a violation of the international law. I mean, this is not just our point of view, it's the point of view of the United Nations, and it's the point of view of even many of the American senators and congressmen who said that Mr. Trump have dealt with this without any respect to the international law and without any legal or moral rationale, but a political aim to safeguard Israel's strategic superiority in the region. This is the only reason why. Let's not forget once again that Israel refuses to sign the NPT and keeps its nuclear program hidden from all international oversight, which is actually the opposite of what Iran is doing as a signatory country of the NPT and all this.
Yes.
And accordingly, we think that the Washington action was not legitimate, and it does not adhere to the international law, and did not have any approval from the United Nations, which make it actually a total and a blatant hit to the international law itself.
Yes. So, Your Excellency, what cards can Iran play in reaction to the latest developments?
Well, I think
can we say yes? Can we say
yes,
that
please.
it could complain at first to the UN, or it would be strikes, or what are your expectations?
Well, actually, I think, what does it serve to complain to the United Nations if actually the hit was driven by the United States, that is one of the permanent member of the Security Council, and it has resorted only to the logic of dominance, of force, and launched the military attack. So the same country that is supposed to be a safeguard of the Charter of the United Nations and the principle of the United Nations is the one that violates it. So what should we expect from the United Nations now? Unfortunately, we have resort to the law of power instead of the power of the law, and the result is going to be to put the whole region in a danger of escalated war, not only between Iran and Israel, but actually this opened the door for many things, actually. And I believe one of the things that it opens the door for is that it opened the appetite of many countries, not just even in the region, maybe in the whole world, to think about the necessity of obtaining a nuclear arm to defend itself against this. Because, being in accordance with the international law like Iran, what it did, even though that the agency was not totally satisfied with Iran activities, but not once, even in the last report, said that Iran is about to produce a nuclear weapon. However, this was not enough for the United States, that want to deprive Iran and any other country who is not considered one of its allies, to deprive it from the peaceful nuclear capabilities. And this is actually one of the biggest problems that we are facing right now.
Yes, I thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your valuable information. Your Excellency, Ambassador Medhat Meligy, former Assistant Foreign Minister, really had the honor to have this phone with you. Thank you very much for following, ladies and gentlemen. Please stay tuned for more updates on Nile TV International.